once again. Welcome to the World Championship Series Jönköping. Our first grand finalist will be Cyril, and he will face the winner of our next series, the final semifinal of the day. It is going to be a Terran versus Protoss for the ages. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nathanius, on the desk as always, joined by two people that I love very much in my life, Rotterdam and Maynard. Roddy, how you doing?
Doing great. That was a fun ZVZ. Unfortunately, not as long as I would have liked to see it, but still saw some good counterattacks there. And how on fire is this young man? I mean, he gets all the hype. We all praise him. And it also had a decent showing, but this time there was no mistake. He was going to deliver. And yeah, I cannot say anything other than it's nice.
It was pretty nice. Wouldn't you agree, Maynard?
It's nice. It's got a good ZVZ.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit interesting, right, that you get up into a position like this. You're so far up ahead, but he's so cool, right? It's just almost weird.
Too cool.
Yeah.
A little bit too relaxed.
I just think the point is that he became so incredibly good that this is honestly not surprising. Like, we can talk for as long as we want about how this is the first time and this is a breakthrough performance, but I just think that Cyril has reached a level that this is honestly just not surprising to him at all. This is the least he expected. Maybe if he wins it, we'll probably get a little more out of it, but he's just been so consistent. He didn't win one challenger, he won 2 in a row, and he won it in very dominating fashion as well. So I guess when you're just this good, then yeah, it's just nice, Nate.
It's nice. You know what else is nice? Our awesome sponsors. Make sure to check out Asus, Republic of Gamers, and Razer as we make our way to the second semifinal and we see who will go up against Cyril. This story for the second semi, I think, is still pretty awesome, right? We have either the repeat champion going up in the grand finals again in the form of Neeb carrying the USA on his back, or it's going to be Kelazhur making already his deepest tournament run pretty much ever in WCS and the potential to get his first championship or at least his first finals appearance.
Yeah, he's had a step up on Austin already, where he was sort of showing everyone that he's a brand new Kelazhur has come to the table. Geez, he hasn't had a great history against Neeb though in the last few times they've matched up. I mean, he did beat him in the Austin group stages, but I mean, other than that, Neeb kind of smacks him around a little bit. Yeah, we'll see on stage. It's actually very, very hard to predict, to be honest, even that and take into contention.
Yeah, just to put that in numbers, what Maynard just said, over the course of history, they had 22 series against each other. The score 19-3 in favor of Neeb.
Ouch.
Yes, but I mean, some of those results, we always do this right, but they have been playing for years. I mean, it's really cool for me because I've seen Kelazhur since his very first event, Intel Extreme Masters 2012 Sao Paulo. He was there, just open bracket, you know.
Oh, I think I remember the story.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a story there, but it's just awesome. So Diego has truly grown, and obviously if you make your way up the ranks, yeah, you're gonna run into Neeb a bunch of times, you'll lose. But like Maynard said, the last time they played offline, Kelazhur won. And the way that Kelazhur has been playing this event, I mean, I was talking with the Muslim as well, it's just damn impressive. It's not gimmicky, it's not lucky, it's raw skill. He's fast, he's on point. This is going to be one hell of a series. I definitely think that Kelazhur can put up a very good fight here. He's the underdog, but he just got some information as well about how Neeb likes to play, how he likes to open. Kelazhur is also a kid on fire.
I think it's safe to say Kelazhur is playing the best StarCraft we've ever seen him play.
100%.
And as we get ready to go into this match, we also have a little video introducing our second semifinal and the players' road to get here.
Oh, look at this. This tank positioning too. 4 tanks, all shelling.
GG.
I think I can definitely win this tournament, and I'll do everything in my power to do it.
Neeb, the reigning WCS Austin champion, not ready to bow out just yet.
For me, the most notable moment of this tournament was when I was able to come back from a 1-0 deficit against TLO. I really thought I was dead there, so to be able to advance from the group stages was quite a relief.
quite a story these players have, of course. Neeb had his crescendo last year. His performances were steadily improving. He had that rivalry against Hydra until he finally came into his own and started to really... Well, he made two big final appearances, and then, of course, we all remember the Kespa Cup at the end of last year. But this year, coming in just as dominant, just as fierce, Roddy.
Yep, you mentioned that rivalry. Well, that was a rivalry up to the point where Neeb just got so much better and it wasn't much of a rivalry anymore. That doesn't happen often. Often it's like a back and forth thing. Once Neeb started winning, I think he 3-0'd Hydra like 4 best-of-5s in a row. Yep. It was like, I think we have to stop calling this a rivalry. Like, this is slaughter. I don't know what this is. But yeah, Neeb has been playing very well. Obviously, had great performance at Austin. It's just cool, man, because this is not one of these series where we can really say, okay, this person really has to work on this stuff. We saw Kelazhur beat Showtime twice, super impressive, really fun series as well. So obviously we know that he's capable of playing high-level TvP. We saw just Neeb play a phenomenal series against Special. I mean, what can we say, right? There isn't really anything we can pinpoint other than that they both show us they can play this matchup at the highest level.
Yeah, we're going to dissect this matchup a little bit more, but first we are going to bring the players onto the stage to get ready to kick off semifinal number 2.
For our second semifinal match to see which player will move on to face Cyril in the grand finals, it'll be the USA versus Brazil. Can our #1 ranked WCS player make 2 grand finals back-to-back, or will the Brazilian take him out and make his first grand finals ever? Please welcome on stage, it is Neeb and Kelazhur!
Quite a showdown ahead of us. Kelazhur has really come into his own. That Austin performance, so good. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit before this tournament when we were getting settled in Jönköping, and he's just such a happy guy. He is such a cool guy. I've had the pleasure of living with him a bit at the Root House. He's one of the nicest guys that you're going to meet in StarCraft, and it's really awesome to see him make it to this stage and kick some serious ass.
And he's a brand new man as well since returning from Korea. He did a lot of time there in that Base Trade TV house, practicing a lot with the likes of Petit Drogo, Scarlet, etc., etc. But the real story is, it used to be from his region of the world, from the Southern America region, it was all about Major. All about Major, and it has been for quite a while, or from Special these days as he's known. And Kelazhur, I gotta say, lately in the last few tournaments that I've been seeing him, he sometimes looks better. And Major, Special, rather, was very, very, very close to killing Neeb. Went all the way to Game 5, and that Game 5, those Banshees could have sealed the deal there. It was very, very close.
And then on the other side, of course, there is Neeb, the guy that, well, I know I've been talking up a lot. I know, Roddy, you and I have been behind this guy for a while, and he's been the torchbearer for North America for the last almost 2 years now. And probably one of the scariest guys you can run into.
Absolutely. Pretty much since Legacy of the Void came out, while a lot of the European pros and some of the North American pros were still playing Heart of the Swarm for the last few tournaments, Neeb was nowhere to be found except for Rank 1 Grandmaster League in the Legacy of the Void beta. Since Legacy came out, Neeb has pretty much been on top of the foreign scene. It took a while before he really put that into tournament results, but everybody knew what he was capable of. It's a funny contrast between the two because I feel like Neeb kind of rose to the top out of nowhere. Like, here's Legacy and here's your new foreign top Protoss together with Showtime. It's Neeb. And Kelazhur is more like stagnatingly, improving over time. And then like, for a while, it like stagnated, then he got a little bit better again and just kept taking his game gradually over time to the next level, which is, quite a contrast between these two.
Yeah, and Neeb's actually, he's also one of the Protosses where the Protosses started to move away from the Adept Phoenix thing, but Neeb's like, nah, I still see some blood left in this stone. And he does pretty well with it every time I see him use it. It's very, very, very effective, even with, there's been a few nerfs here and there, a few changes to the units, but Neeb does it so strongly, and he also knows exactly when to transition out of it as well. So he's one of those Protosses that is smart enough to know what works and what doesn't, and against who.
Yeah, I remember DeMuslim was mentioning it earlier, just Neeb stating himself, it's like, yeah, if I do this down and I play it well, you're not really going to be able to beat me because I'm just that good at the game. And I think another cool thing you've seen out of Neeb, man, he's shown a little bit of a different look this tournament. Watching him perform up on the stage after that series in Major, he kind of saw a little bit of the dark side. He's not here to mess around.
I mean, if you guys want to go back through the VODs, or anyone watching in the VODs right now, rewind to when Neeb lost a very frustrating game against Widowmines on Proxima.
Yeah.
And look at his face when that game ended. that was the dark side starting to come out within him.
Yeah, bringing out a little bit more emotion from these players, Roddy.
Yeah.
We've all been there, Nate. I've had faces like that after mines as well in my base, especially if they're all over the place. We've got the maps on screen. So we see Odyssey being vetoed by Kelazhur, and then we see Ascension to Ire being vetoed by Neeb.
We're going to start things off on Blood Boil for some TvP. I think Neeb was saying at the end of the last match in his interview that he actually liked to play that map versus Terran. So potential, as he put it, if he can get up to that later stage where he gets all those bases up, perhaps then we see him, well, build everything that he wants with those gold minerals.
Yeah, that's one of the options, but I think the biggest contrast between this series and the one we saw before, and I don't know how you feel about it, Maynard, but I think that Kelazhur is more aggressive than Special, and we see him think more outside of the box as well, where Special might start off with a proxy and then transition. There's a good chance that Kelazhur goes all the way. Like an Abyssal, I know that he loves his one base all-ins on Abyssal. Yeah. That's kind of what I think of this series.
I kind of, when I was watching that game on Blood Boil though, I kind of thought, this looks like a Kelazhur build. Like, the proxy Banshee, that sort of thing. So, I mean, maybe he goes more ham than that. That was pretty ham from Special, but, I mean, how do you turn that build up to 11 though if he wants to go for something like that on that map?
Well, perhaps we are about to find out as our second semifinal is ready. I hope you guys are hungry for some more Terran versus Protoss because we're about to get right into it.
Here we go, semifinals number 2. I've doubted Neeb when he had to face Special. I don't think I will make that same mistake again, the Muslim. What about you?
No, I didn't make that mistake at all, Todd. I remember we talked about it on the desk, and Neeb's been looking so strong, but that matchup was so close. But that did get him prepared, possibly for Neeb or for Kelazhur, who plays a very similar style to Major in this matchup. Anyhow, heading into this first map of this series between these guys, I don't know what's going through their heads right now. They have both said that they respect the other player a lot. I think they've even spent time living in the same house together. So there could potentially be some mind games going off in this series too between these two players.
They're good friends, but inside of the StarCraft game, there's no friendship that matters. No mercy will be shown. Starting in the top left-hand side of the map, playing as the blue Terran, it is Root OSC's Kelazhur.
Looking extremely focused there. Anyhow, the previous champion of WCS Austin, looking to make his second finals of WCS this year. Spawning as the red Protoss in the southeast corner, it is Neeb. Neeb is love, Neeb is life.
And Neeb apparently, he's done his homework. He went through around the third base area where there could have been a proxy, which we saw earlier in the tournament when Kelazhur had to face Showtime. He's known for his proxy barracks and Reapers, so Neeb really on the lookout for that. Luckily for Kelazhur, he didn't go for one of those. That could have been really bad, if that SCV takes a lot of damage and then he's forced to abort after actually investing a lot into that. So Neeb, he's on top of things so far. He's gonna wanna be rather safe than sorry here up against a Kelazhur who can be very tricky at times.
I'm glad you bring that up, the fact that he's prepared for his opponent. Now, we're so deep into the tournament now that there are so many series that have been played. Whoa, is this probe actually going to get this SV? This is quite a dance for that. No, just run away. Doesn't want to stick around in case that Reaper comes out and gets the probe. Can be rather annoying, but they're both so far in the tournament now that they've played pretty much every matchup that they can. Kelazhur previously beat Showtime 2 series straight earlier in the tournament, who's highly regarded as the second best, if not the best, foreign Protoss in the scene.
Yeah.
Now that will strike fear into Neeb, but Neeb plays a very different style to Showtime, and within regards to this tournament alone, Neeb's looked absolutely unstoppable in this matchup.
Yeah, Neeb truly looked unbeatable with the Phoenix Adept style, and that's what he's a master of. He's gonna lose one single probe there before the Reaper gets out, but Neeb will be on the chase here, trying to catch that.
Obviously annoying. You don't really want to lose the amount of probes that he has so far, which is 2, including the scouting probe. So you could say that technically Kelazhur has a bit of an edge. Now, given that we are so deep in the tournament, you run out of your bag of tricks because you've already used it to survive this far in the tournament. So what you tend to see happening between these players that get to this stage, they rely on their strengths. And right now, what Kelazhur is showing us is, hey, I'm really good with Reaper control. Despite losing it, but getting 3 probes at this stage in the game, the only job of the Reaper is to make sure that you do not get cheesed and you get to scout which tech your opponent's doing. But given that Stargate is so popular and Neeb is so proficient at Stargate openings, you can almost expect that. So I love the fact that Kelazhur actually opted just to go straight for probes and get a tiny edge that way.
Yeah, it's actually very rare to see Neeb lose 3 probes like this to just one single repair. So this is really a testament to how good Kelazhur is with the early game harassment. Now, the desk referred to this score between those 2 players, where Neeb is 19-3, and that's in series up against Kelazhur. But they've played a lot this year as well. The one time that they've bet when it mattered the most was offline in the WCS tournament, and Kelazhur won that. So he shouldn't hopefully read too much into all of their last encounters and just rather think about how well he's playing as of late, which is impressing more than ever. And I really feel like Kelazhur is on the verge of becoming one of these biggest Terran names that we have outside of Korea. Like until now, you would think of like for some time Marine Lord and then eventually Euthermal, Specials, one of those guys. But Kelazhur really is becoming one of those newer Terran names.
This isn't the same Kelazhur that you once played. This is a Kelazhur that is much better now. When you say, hey, who's going to win out of Kelazhur and Euthermal? Nobody expected Kelazhur to 3-0 bop Euthermal in the way that he did. There was no super cheese involved either. He was just raw skill. Obviously, there was a Reaper game and such, but you could see the mechanics behind it. You could see the decision-making. And in the series against Showtime, he executed some rather strange builds that weren't totally normal. And here we see 3 Cyclones on the map with Marines and a Medevac. Now, this is a very odd build, and we look at the worker count at this stage in the game, it being 39-39 is actually a very good situation for a Terran. The way that Neeb's going to try and get ahead is this very quick third base. Oh, these lock-ons with these... Okay, does get away by quite easily, actually. But Neeb knows that pressure is at his front door now.
Yeah, he's got quite a few Phoenixes here to help and deal with this. Kind of worried about some sort of drop here in his natural, even though he saw some of these Cyclones. So he's going to group up around the third base and always pull back as much as he can, force the bat fight out of the Terran. Actually, that was a little bit of an eager whop in here. Those units were exposed for a little bit. And I think Kelazhur needs to try and snipe some Phoenixes if he can.
Oh.
And he's going to get one, but it looks like he's going to get cleaned up quite easily here. Maybe a bit of an overextension by the Terran player. Now everything's going to get chased down.
Oh, this
And that really didn't do much.
Yeah, this push isn't doing half as much as he wanted. And even his rally there with the Viking moving in, Medevac being lost too.
Wow.
This is a total clean sweep. This resources lost tab is not looking good for Kelazhur at all. And he's the one with a third base, Todd, already. This was textbook cleanup. And I have to say, what was this push realistically meant to do?
Kill the units of Neeb, but that just wasn't enough. Yeah, there was enough Phoenixes, and Neeb's micro with those Phoenixes and Adepts is always spot on. When he has to shade inside of the Terran army, come in at the last second with Phoenixes against Widow Mines, it's always going to be pristine. And here, once again, he picked up the right units, picked up the Cyclones, dealt with the Marines at the same time, and basically killed everything that was on his side of the map.
Do you know what's even more super beautiful about the situation? Not only did he get his third up without losing that much besides the first Reaper killing a few probes, he now saw that he's going up to 4th and 5th back racks and when they're going up as well. So he knows that he can stay on Phoenix Adept for quite a while, or as he's doing, he can just choose to tech now. He's got some time. He's got Phoenix out on the map. If he keeps tagging those Medevacs, he's going to know the potential of where he's going to get hit by Kelazhur. But for the time being, all that money's going to go into probes. There they are, 3 at a time. And his economy is going to be spiraling out of control soon. Whoa, nice hit on that Oracle, though.
Yeah, with how mechanically solid Neeb is from there, it feels like it's so easy for him to play just kind of standard, like going to Glaives, +1 attack, and then eventually later add Blink, and then going to Colossus with the 4th base that he starts so consistently as the 3rd base gets perfectly saturated.
Sorry to interrupt you, Todd. This is the Kelazhur special, though. Look at these Medevacs escaping out on the map. And will Neeb see them? No, just out in the shadows. I thought that maybe Neeb was doing the one thing that Showtime didn't, keeping track of those Medevacs, but he's let them get free and they've evaded the base.
Look at how many pylons there on that natural of Neeb there. And the mothership will not be spotted instantly. The mothership core there by Kelazhur. So if he drops on top of this, he might lose a lot of units. He's going to boost past it.
Oh, and Neeb was actually quite good. Oh, look at that pile on the high ground, even getting some shots here. The Adepts coming in. Widow Mines have burrowed. This is quite a lot of damage being done by Kelazhur, but a really swift hold. And where are these Phoenix? These Phoenix coming in to grab these Medevacs. This is a really bad situation for Kelazhur coming in. Going to lose all these Medevacs. Losing one single Phoenix, but great cleanup by Neeb.
Neeb's defensively is just a brick wall. He's unbreakable every single time. You can do some damage here and there, but he's going to clean up the army that you throw at him, still be ahead in supply. and then from there, expand super solidly. Second Robo and RoboBay gonna be on the way now, as well as Blink. And we're gonna have that Colossus transition that's gonna make it even harder for Kelazhur to keep on fighting here against this Protoss army of Neeb.
That's so funny as well. The Terran third base goes down while Neeb's fourth starts. He is in such a good position here, even doing some fancy micro with this Warp Prism just because he can. If we talk about advantages that Kelazhur might have this game, it's this 2-2.
Yeah.
Well, the 2-2 upgrades. +1 armor is on the way for Neeb. But Kelazhur, he's rather unthwarted in terms of macro and economy here.
Yeah, it's incredibly early for these upgrades here from Terran, so there's going to be a huge window during which Kelazhur is going to have 2-2 against the lower upgrades here of Neeb, who's only now adding that second forge and going for a level 1 ground armor to try and equalize these upgrades there eventually. But it's going to be a lot of gas needed to start, double Colossus production plus thermal lance. And that one cheeky pylon.
It buys some time.
Yeah, it may get killed, but it actually spots these medivacs here that we're going to head from the right-hand side towards Neeb's main.
I love these random pylons and these random supply depots that we've seen on some of these maps, because even if you lose it, that's 100 mils for potentially not losing a whole probe line. So great move by Neeb there. And right now, time's on his side.
It's good that you clarified. I thought you perhaps meant that you love finding them on the map and killing them.
Oh, I mean, that too. But it's much better killing a whole probe line, Todd. And I mean, it reminds me of your Warcraft 3 days with your farms scattered around the map. So it's nice to see that strategies from one RTS can totally be used and be useful in another.
But those were a lot tankier than these pylons, for sure.
They used to take a while. But here, Neeb is on the defense, a decent army, and not being too over committal here with chasing.
Another drop in the natural. It's gonna get shut down with some perfect overcharges there. The Phoenixes as well helping with this, and Neeb still just refuses to take damage here against
Neeb is the wall, but these Widow Mines, these can get some healthy hit. Oh! That was actually way more damage than they should have done. Neeb a little bit preemptive there with wanting to pounce on Kelazhur, and Kelazhur almost baited him into those Widow Mines there. Great play.
Actually, Neeb's prioritizing on the Chrono Boost here. He's going to be on the Robos here up until now, so he's not going to go for these quicker upgrades. Getting as many Colossi out as early as possible might lead into a timing as well. If you can go up to 4-6 Colossi, and there is not that many Vikings against you, it means that there's going to be quite a few Medivacs and Liberators. There are certain timings that are going to be very dangerous if you want to go for the attack, and Advanced Ballistics now starts for Kelazhur, who I think is going to be going mostly for Liberators.
Definitely. Some of the most surprising stuff with this game, though, is despite Neeb getting his economy going much faster than Kelazhur, Kelazhur's the one that's pretty darn even on supply and with a slight upgrade advantage here. So he's done a fantastic job back at home, just macroing. And look at all those mules fly down there, too. One worry for Neeb, though, at this point in time, he's delved so hard into anti-ground army, the Colossi, the Immortals, all the Adepts and such. Yeah. But these Liberators, I almost feel that he needs to pop down a Stargate and then maybe a second Stargate for those Tempests to deal with these Liberators.
I thought it was going to get cancelled, but Neeb actually goes for that, knowing that he can kill a lot of SCVs, and that's before Kelazhur can not only max out, but also save up some sort of bank. So it's actually useful snipes here on these SCVs.
And yeah, our observer just pointed out that Neeb did indeed lose this Warp Prism to this rather fancy Widow Mine placement in the bushes there.
Well, what do you think about the Colossus counts against Liberator? It's 4 Colossi, which he could have very well gone into 6, but he's adding on Immortals there against 4 Liberators. It should be quite scary for Terran.
It should be. I think 4 Colossi is actually one of the perfect numbers, because how many Vikings do you make to deal with that? You want roughly like 15 or so. Once you eliminate that, you can switch into Storm, which is exactly what he's doing here with the charge. And within regards to losing those Adepts or sending them in to deal with the SCVs, I think that's a great trade. Adepts, they're great early game, they're great dealing with small numbers of bio, but when it gets to this number, their range is just too bad to deal with it efficiently. But this is Kelazhur, and he's setting up in a really scary location here. And there's nothing really to deal with these Liberators efficiently.
It's going to be hard for Neeb to take a good engagement unless Kelazhur attacks into him here. Going to very dangerous territory. This world was actually triggered by one single Widow Mine here. How often do you see this?
These feedbacks on these medevacs, no longer will this army be healed. That means that Neeb wants to play cost efficiently and try and make this fight last for as long as possible. So that's exactly what you see Neeb doing here. He's staying on the rims, staying calm and in control. And what do we see here on the production tab? He's getting that fleet beacon, but I felt he actually analyzed this a little bit too late. And now he's actually having to commit into these Liberators here. This isn't a good trade for Neeb. This is a great fight for Kelazhur.
Yeah, Neeb's going to blink forward. A lot of these Stalkers will die instantly. Kelazhur will be trading. His army gets cleaned up eventually, and all of these Colossi are left intact, but 18 probes have died.
There's a Liberator shooting somewhere, 20 probes down. Now, Kelazhur's the one that needs to defend now, needs to hold on. If he can do it, he is ahead. The question is, can he do it, though? A real angry Neeb is marching out across the map. This isn't a very good anti-air army
Darth Neeb is back, man, just like after his third map.
Yeah, it almost feels
Special.
like you don't want to make Neeb angry. Don't make him angry, because he will charge at you. But there isn't much anti-air. Kelazhur needs Liberators, and he needs Liberators now.
I thought Kelazhur might start a second planetary fortress out of fear here. On that one base, he had the command center.
I mean, Neeb needs to deal damage, which is exactly what he's trying to do. And poking and prodding the way that he's doing, he's getting in a really nice position here. And there isn't really enough bio to really slam down this army. There's no Vikings.
There isn't enough anti-air to fight against Liberators, and Neeb can't reinforce there. He's still losing probes.
He
somewhere,
is.
I think, against the one Liberator that was there.
32 probes down in the most recent engagements between these two players. I love the fact that he's killing these rocks, but Kelazhur's prepared. He just repositions a couple of Liberators, or still picking off units here. This is a really good game to start off this series. Kelazhur's still expanding despite being under all this pressure.
I feel like this base is the one you take if you're in danger, whenever you would take the other one that's supposedly safe, and nobody ever notices it when it's been taken down there.
No, it definitely was the better choice here for Kelazhur. And Neeb is just trying to get around these Liberators. And has he done it here? There's still not really that much anti-air in his army, but back at home he's getting up more Stargates, really trying to do what he can. A nice blink forward, tries to get into those Liberators, does pick it off. Now we have Storm joining the fray. This could be the real turning point. And what you see Neeb just doing here is just trying to get Kelazhur out of position with those Liberators. And somehow, despite all this chaos at his front door, Kelazhur's still finding the time to harass and deal economic damage. Great Storms go down. Is that PF going to die? There are so many Immortals in this army. The damage, no, does not die.
Kelazhur went for a counter drop across the map here to try and deal some economic damage as well. He's gonna go straight for the probe line, but there is some units there from Neeb ready to defend. He should be fine.
The wall of Neeb. He is getting such a lead in this game. I don't know how he's capable of doing that. And Neeb, he's breaking through. He actually killed the orbital command. There was too much going on. Neeb out multitasking Kelazhur in this game. He manages to break through. And that he's under these Liberators now. The Liberator's not shooting at that point. And GG, well played, is called. Neeb takes a high action, high tempo first game of this series.
Very convincing throughout, especially in the start. He was getting great trades all along. That first initial attack, a lot of Protosses would have crumbled under the pressure and taken a lot of damage. Not Neeb. Perfect defense.
Not Neeb at all. And we have to talk about Kelazhur, though. Like, this was definitely a back and forth game. This is when you see two lightweight boxers going at it. They're not going to stop. They are high octane all the way through the match. And despite being under that pressure, you have to give him credit. But again, Neeb, he lost 32 probes at some point in that game, but he knows exactly when to attack and exactly what his goal is. I love the fight where he feedbacked all the medevacs and he forced out an extra stim, then pounced. It's not as if his army got 10 times better. It's just that army of Neeb, he lost an extra 20% health, meaning he could definitely pounce on him and subsequently win the game.
And Neeb, actually that attack was like super eager across the map. He couldn't even reinforce nearby. I don't think he had a prism, but he was just like, I got Colossi, you don't have much anti-air, you've only got Liberators defensively. I can just kind of dance around and do a lot of damage. And that Storm, because the way the game was scrappy and they kept on trading, and Neeb was getting the better end of the trades, there was no Ghost in sight. So that made it so much easier for the High Templars to kind of come in and steal the show.
Obviously, hindsight's a beautiful thing in this kind of situation. I know the harass was beautiful by Kelazhur. So that fight happened on the east side of the map, and Kelazhur moved in. There was even multiple Liberators around the map trying to deal economic damage, which they certainly were. But maybe what Kelazhur needed in that time was that he needed more defensive Liberators. Maybe turn off the aggression just a bit when you're ahead in that kind of situation and defend, and maybe we could have been seeing a different game. But right here, we're seeing Kelazhur already opt for something rather cheeky. And anyhow, just speaking of cheeky, spawning in the southeast side as our Blue Terran, hailing from Brazil, it is Kelazhur.
His opponent starts a gateway at 16 there. I was worried for a second. In the red, it is Sting's Neeb.
The phenomenal play from Neeb in that first series. His play almost reminds me of a Korean Rain.
Yeah.
Rain in his prime in terms of, hey, I'm going to defend. I know what you're going to throw at me. I'm just going to defend everything.
He might play a little bit more aggressive.
He might be an Xerg for sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of PvT, he has his Stargate opening. He's good at it. Everybody knows what Neeb's going to do because he doesn't really throw cheese at his opponents. He is the epitome of just a good all-round player. But here, we do see that Kelazhur's going for one of the cheekiest proxy racks builds that I've seen against the Protoss. And honestly, I don't know what he's going to do with it.
And Neeb in game 1 was on top of his scouting. He checked for proxies, not this time around, but he went for a quick scout across the map. So he sees no barracks inside of the main base of Kelazhur. He's like, well, all right, I guess I know what you're up to. And then from there, he's going to know that there's something proxied on the map, most likely barracks and Reapers coming towards his base. He's going to respect that, get a Zealot, get a quick Mothership Core, and make sure he defends back at home. Doesn't take, or like minimizes the economic damage so that he can propel himself into the mid game with that second base and in a good position.
This is one of the beautiful things about Terran, though. There are so many options when you go for a proxy racks build. Is it one proxy racks? Is it factory? Is it starport follow? We also saw from Major in his series that he went for the starport follow with the Banshees and such. And here, he's trying to start the snowball, which is the Reaper attacks. As soon as that Mothership calls out and you have enough Stalkers or Adepts out in the fray, you can deal with them very
easily. He's going to block it!
Oh, wow. 6 around from Neeb. Again, trapping these Reapers in the midst of his mineral lines, except this game, he was not able to get away. This is already slowing down Kelazhur's fast action, fast tempo pace strategy.
There was so many mineral patches here in between that I could see it coming, that he was going to try that, make sure that he doesn't let that first Reaper get out. That's a big snipe, even though he lost 3 probes there. But Kelazhur, obviously, he's going to use the terrain here to go into that natural base, which Neeb's fully aware of. So he's not saturating that. That one probe about to come out, though, but he's not even going to cancel that. He's just going to rally towards the minerals and cover it.
This gives everything away, Todd. When you have 3 Reapers, it means that you can 2 volley probes down, which is a big deal. If you get hit by an Adept, it takes 3 shots to kill you, so you can technically kill a good 2 probes and just run away every time. So killing that first Reaper really slowed things down. And look how Neeb's positioning himself here. He's even attacking this Reaper with the probes. Is he going to get it? He does get it. So Kelazhur being very ballsy, but it's obviously paying off here. Can he get out? Can he get out?
Probably not. No, he's blocked in.
Oh.
Once again, Neeb with the great defense. He's just a brick wall, man. And he's got a probe running around inside of the main base of Kelazhur. So he sees the entire tech. He sees the factory producing something that's probably going to reveal that a Cyclone's going to come out of it to get rid of that probe. And he saw that there was no starport either.
You're totally right. This probe's still alive in the base of Kelazhur. He was possibly hoping to poke and prod, maybe get that SCV eventually. And if he goes down, he can also... Oh! 1 Reaper does drop, but it's forcing out 2 overcharges. That's kind of a decent trade for Kelazhur, but for the time being, Neeb has survived.
Yeah, the Cyclone just killed that 1 probe that was across the map, so Neeb knows that there is a Cyclone that was made first. He knows that there is no need to worry about Widow Mines in the first place. Obviously, there could still be some produced behind this, but he mostly checked the entire man and saw there was no starport.
Oh, wow, that poor Reaper managing to get stuck around that big Adept and couldn't get out of there. But Neeb's defending with as much as he needs to defend with. 1 Adept here, 1 Adept there. Mothership Core in place and just moves right across the map with this Oracle. It won't be able to deal that much damage if Kelazhur defends acutely with these Cyclones. And look at what Kelazhur's doing. He's doing one of the most famous moves of StarCraft. When you're behind, try and leapfrog your opponent to get ahead. The 3rd CC is a big deal. If it gets scouted, it means that Neeb knows that he can then play the aggressive greed economy game in which he will then out-leapfrog his opponent back. And yes, immediately scouts exactly what's going on, and he will deal damage straight away. This is not what Kelazhur wanted.
Yeah, Neeb mentioned that he felt comfortable here on this map because once you start taking that gold base, you're able to do everything that you want. The scan actually used to make sure he can kill that Oracle here. Nice move by Kelazhur, shutting that out entirely for now there. And since those barracks have flown back, he's going to be going straight into bio, obviously. With Steam Pack now on the way, but actually that Command Center will kind of block him at the bottom, but he'll be okay. He's still got space above that. But Neeb, yeah. I was wondering actually if he might take the gold base as a 3rd, but that would have been really greedy, I guess.
That would have been super ballsy and when we look at the supply, as you would say, 71 to 47 in this situation, 50 workers to 31. He knows he's ahead. Why be risky when you're ahead? That goes against Neeb's whole philosophy of playing this game. But Kelazhur's resorting to what he's been doing against Protoss this entire tournament. Getting into 3 racks, lots of Marines, and getting that double dropout. Neeb knows, he's seen this, he is not dumb. In fact, he is highly intelligent when it comes to StarCraft 2. Hunting down these Reapers around the map, and it feels like he's resorting to what he does best. Twilight Council, going to start his 1 Forge upgrades, and we're going to see a lot of Adepts coming out. Possibly quicker Colossi than normal, but he should feel very comfortable with this stage in the game that he's got to.
Yeah, usually Resonating Glaives and that +1 attack is what you would follow this up with to go into a lot of Adepts. And I like that Protosses, they delay the gateway production as well. Like you see, Neeb just added 4 gates at the perfect timing after his 3rd base is already finished. He's saturating that. He didn't need to make units earlier because he saw that 3rd command center. So you also need to get the right amount of gateways, which I think he's getting perfectly right. One more Oracle will get shut down there.
Wow, these are really nice defensive moves with these Cyclones. And initially, I wasn't sure whether the Cyclones would be able to do as good as they have, given there's so many cliffs. But Kelazhur's been moving his units in such a way that it was either run into the Marines or run into a position that the Cyclones are still going to shoot you. So really good defense by him.
Neeb actually warped in multiple sentries here. He just warped in a 2nd one. The 1st one has already got 100 energy. So you're going to want to have Guardian Shield, Force Fields. Also sometimes can help, even though against Medivacs they're not always the best. But remember, he has Phoenixes to work with. Couple in-control cannons are going to start in those bases to complement the overcharges whenever there's going to be drops, which against Kelazhur you can bet there's going to be drops.
You definitely can, and here we are, the first Keller drops going out on the map, and this is very, very, very textbook Kelazhur. He likes to get damage done, he likes to be out on the map. If you can apply pressure to your opponent, it gives you a little bit of breathing room in most situations. Will that be the case this game? The Phoenix count isn't actually that high that he can straight up shut down these medevacs. What he's trying to do here with the Phoenix is just keep an eye on Kelazhur, what he's moving out with. And this is a very strange move out by Neeb, but you see, this isn't just a single move out. He wants to distract with one hand and a real power blow with that Warp Prism.
Neeb has crazy vision right now on the map. He's got a pylon going up on the left-hand side. He controls 2 of the watchtowers down on the map. He's got units a little bit everywhere, even a pylon at the north, actually.
Uh-oh, this is not good for Neeb, though, losing all those Phoenix. And a big question here is he going to resupply on those Phoenix, or is he just completely giving up air control? And if you give up air control against a player that is so notoriously good with medevacs and medevac drops, that's a scary place to be.
He's baiting him, man. He's like, drop me, I dare you, and then he's gonna get Blink Stalkers, jump on top of these guys.
This is the real clock on this game, though, Todd. This gold base being taken, Kelazhur obviously doesn't want that to go up, and that's why he's right here with a pretty decent army. He might be able to cancel this Nexus for now, which... Oh, is he going to do it? That was so close to going down there.
Neeb is so patient. I can't believe he didn't cancel that. That was taking so much damage. Actually, could have been cancelled, but then Kelazhur might have lost some of his units.
And while that was going on...
Oh, the Prism got sniped.
Yeah, Kelazhur was defending against the Prism while all that was going on. These players are so quick that we can't keep up with them with just one observer. So these medevacs do clean out the pylons, but again, these pylons just buying time, and Neeb being Neeb has a second layer on that left wing of the map with another pylon there. Adepts controlling the watchtowers, but not for too long. Nice Widowmine placement, and supply-wise, this is a very even game.
Yeah, and we see Disruptor production beginning here for Neeb as well, so he's gonna try to surprise, maybe hoping that Kelazhur goes into a lot of Vikings to try and counter the Colossus. Because of the way the previous game went, remember how Neeb was getting Colossi and they didn't get countered properly. You can kind of anticipate that Kelazhur in this game will go into a lot of Vikings. And then if he does, that'd be really good for Neeb because he's not getting any Colossus just yet.
Oh, this medevac not long for this world. Leaves behind a few units. Will a Widowmine shot get off though? And look how well Neeb is holding these points. Even though the armies are still alive from these drops, so to speak, not for long. Neeb's pouncing on it. May lose a few units here, but they're fighting under Guardian Shield, and Neeb's defense has been absolutely stellar, even getting away with that observer
That was sick. He moved it back.
And I mean, these Marines are going to try and do what they can, but again, Kelazhur, he's trying to
actually,
find
that cannon's going to die here, and there's a Widowmine in there.
Wow, there's a lot of probes dying.
It didn't shoot yet, so might be able to do a lot of damage here against those units. Finally finding some room here to do some damage. The Terran player looking to try and capitalize here on some of Neeb's mistakes.
And I tell you what, why we call it a mistake. This is just Kelazhur's game plan. He wants to find holes, and if you send 5 drops at your opponent, eventually one's got to deal damage, right? But that clock that I talked about, Kelazhur fighting back economically at least. Upgrade-wise, again, Kelazhur doing so well, getting this 2-2 exceedingly fast. And one beautiful thing I see on this minimap that could potentially win Neeb the game, those 2 warp prisms busting in. But I find it so scary. If you're against a guy that likes to multitask, likes to go around the map with all these drops, you go for disruptors, it's very hard to look in 2 places at once. That shows real confidence in Neeb's ability.
You want to ask him, how much do you like to multitask when there is zealots or charge loads and adepts running inside every single one of your bases, killing every single SCV?
Oh, but look at this timing. This is right before Liberator range has really started. A great blink forward. Very, very brave. Moving forward, there's disruptor shots going off. Not really taking out too much, but what's Kelazhur's response here?
Ooh, actually, he's hitting that gold base here, knowing that the army of Neeb is out on the map. He wants to deal with his army and then take out the Nexus if he can. And he's got a lot there with just too many Vax. But Neeb's coming in from behind to try and save that base right now.
Is Neeb going to be able to hold this off efficiently? The answer looks like yes. A big blink forward. The shaded adepts actually not really chasing down as well as they should. But Kelazhur dealing as much damage as he can. But is it enough? Neeb takes a 40 supply lead.
I'm looking at it. And Neeb...
His defense is absolutely impregnable. Kelazhur is doing the best with what he has.
And he's going to counter-attack you from there. He fully realizes he's going to have way more army. He can reinforce quickly. Remember, he made 2 double warpism.
He certainly did.
He's going to have so much. Like, there's going to be advanced ballistics, but I don't even think there is that many liberators just yet. Goodbye, Widowmine.
Goodbye. You were not longed for this world. These 2 warp prisms, by the way, Todd, I absolutely love this move by Neeb. He's going to really, really tax Kelazhur's multitasking. And do you know what an aggressive player really hates? He hates a player being aggressive to him. Often you find that aggressive players tend to be that way because they hate to defend. And if you put your opponent in a position where he has to defend not just 1 point, not just 2 points, but 3 points, this is going to get real hard for Kelazhur very soon.
Yeah, there is Neeb engaging at the front. Gets some huge detonation here with one of these disruptor shots. Kelazhur taking a huge supply deficit right now, and he's gonna have to try and fight back with the units that he has.
Look at this, disruptor shots going off, the main base under attack, the natural under attack. GG is called in a matter of seconds. Neeb's plan unfolded, and wow. He annihilated Kelazhur in the last minute of the game. I don't think Kelazhur even knows what the hell was going on right there.
Blood boil, not even an issue here for Neeb. Just plays solid throughout once again.
There is no stopping this young gentleman in PBT, it seems.
I don't think you should try to proxy or play like anything too special at this point, because Neeb's just, he's gonna scout for it, he's gonna identify it, defend it well enough, even though Kelazhur kind of made the most of it anyway, like he killed a couple of probes here and there, he started losing Reapers, and then from there, Neeb had all the momentum in the world, quick 3rd base, quick 4th.
No, you're right, like, we've seen Cheese has done against Neeb now, and we've seen him shut them down hard. Despite things maybe not going super well at the start, such as losing 3 probes against the initial Reaper, but we've seen him get out of the situation, and he knows better what to do than anybody else. He said that he's very confident in PvT, and he feels that it's Protoss favored right now, given that Protoss have a strategy that works, and it throws the ball in the Terran's court. But
it's a very rare thing to hear as well from a Protoss player, right?
It's a rare thing to hear from anybody that your race is stronger in a certain matchup, but even if it's not, even if that's not the case at all, the way that he feels that way, the fact that he feels that way about it, that's a big deal. And the real question that Kelazhur's got to be asking himself, what do I throw at this guy that's doing the same thing every game, the same kind of openings? What do I throw at him?
I think it might take the kitchen sink, the Mausoleum, because there isn't much that's working right now, and hopefully Kelazhur can try something different that will succeed. Otherwise, Neeb is going to propel himself straight into his 2nd Grand Finals in a row, and this time it will be against Europe's best Serral that's waiting for him there.
Anyhow, we will be taking a short break, but we'll be back with you very shortly. Do stay tuned.
all. My life for ire. StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void. Play it now. No previous expansions required.
Welcome back, everyone, to WCS Jönköping. Neeb, he's putting on a clinic right now, and this man here on your screen, Kelazhur, will try to fight back, but I'm not sure at this point what he could do. What do you think, the Muslim?
No, me neither. A short break was required by one of the players, and we at the WCS are totally willing to give it to them. They are performing at such a high level here, and it would be wrong of us to not allow them when they're putting on such a show.
Kelazhur, he got a few minutes to think about what he's going to try next, and I'm not sure. Like, I feel like just maybe play standards, try to do the drops that he's doing, but maybe commit a little bit less early on because of the Stargate tech, right? You're very easily prepared in the starts, but here we are. This is map number 3 of this best of 5 series, starting in the top side of the map, playing as the blue Terran. It is OSC Roots, Kelazhur.
And he's going to have to work hard in this series card. Currently 0-2 down. Enough 3-0. Anyhow, I don't know if this man is ready for that. But anyhow, spawning in the bottom left side as our red Protoss. Currently 2-0 up in this series. It is Neeb. And
Good
again,
news, or at least I think so. It doesn't look like there's going to be any kind of proxy here early on from Kelazhur.
Oh,
going for an old school barracks into a second depot, and I'm guessing command center off the back of this.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see 3CC behind this. This is very, very old school. Obviously, the early depot, it isn't totally necessary with that second SCV. The only reason you would do that is because you want to deny scouting as a whole. And this will leave the Protoss, hey, what's this guy doing behind this? Has he got a gas behind this? Is it 2 gas behind this?
And because of Kelazhur's image, you're more inclined to think that as well, that he might have a gas and he's doing another one of those proxies, which on Proxima Station is very hard to scout. There's so many places it could be, and might start making Neeb paranoid. If you think about this kind of build, like where you're gasless, one of the hardest things you could face, especially if you go for a command center first, or in this case, gasless command center, is a disruptor drop. What has Neeb not been doing? A disruptor drop. He's been opening Stargate every single time. So this could be really good for Kelazhur if he can get away with it.
And given that we know what we know, given that we see everything, we know that these 2 probes on the map right here, they're going to be scouting absolutely nothing. Neeb is scared at this point, and this build's already working out in Kelazhur's favor. Yes, it's an economic build, and boom, Kelazhur doing exactly what I hoped he would. And Neeb, you see these probes frantically running around the map, so we lost a little bit of mining time out of that. You can technically say 40 minerals per minute each one. But so far, Kelazhur's mind games worked. And why keep flogging a dead horse here? The fact is, what he's been doing hasn't been working, and he's throwing out something completely new. I love this from Kelazhur.
When do you think the power spike will come here from Kelazhur's build, when he will be well set up on 3 bases? And should it be before or after Medivacs? Like, should he play very patiently at first and really exploit his stronger economy coming from this?
So some of the things that you're asking, if you move out on the map without A, Medivacs, or B, Stim, your army moves so slow. That can insta-lose against quite a few things, such as Disruptor Drop. If you get a big detonate in the middle of that Bioball, boom, game over. Within regards to what is Neeb most likely doing? Well, the answer is most likely Starport or Stargate. So you want to keep at least 6 Marines in each base and have enough Marines defending all those newly fresh buildings that you're producing. But Neeb gets to scout exactly what's going on. That mothership core flew across the map, and you got to see, hey, this guy, he's gone for the 3CC.
That was actually quite risky. If he had barely missed the proxy on the map and it flew inside of his base now, he would have been very far away. And he would have had to recall, lose some energy for an overcharge, and then just have enough energy for only one more. I mean, we've seen Neeb's defense, though. Obviously, he really wanted to know what he was up against. Now that he knows, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of corner boosted out probes and his own third base being well set up early on in this game.
You're right about that, but how often do you get proxied with the barracks staying at home when a Reaper hasn't been made at all? It kind of makes you think, hey, a Reaper didn't arrive at my front door. That's gas that hasn't been used. Will he necessarily make a factory to then have some kind of delayed harass on me? The answer is usually no. So by just thought of deduction and power of deduction, Neeb actually went for that risk to move the Mothership core out across the map, and it paid off. He knows what he's up against now. And this third Nexus already almost complete at this point in time.
Neeb might be even more inclined to go for something like a double forge here, knowing that he's safe for a very long time. And we can see Kelazhur kind of doing the same thing. Double eBay was already started as Steampack is already halfway through done. In this case, though, because you know there's not going to be factory and starport units early on harassing you, Neeb's actually entirely skipping on the Phoenixes and only using the one Oracle to do some damage, with which he's actually done quite a bit here on its own.
Yeah, a few Marines have died, and that's against the 3 racks build, Todd. That was a lot of Marines that were scattered about the base of Kelazhur, and Neeb still manages to find damage without Oracle. Now, obviously Marines aren't that fast and aren't that good against Oracles early on in small numbers, but Neeb's making magic happen out of very, very little. Look at this. This just shows the confidence of this man, but oh, that is some wasted energy there, and that Oracle won't be useful for much longer. This Marine count is escalating.
Kelazhur scans the third base of Neeb, sees the saturation, and those two guys are starting. It doesn't tell him much about the take of Neeb, which is going to be straight into, I believe, what is going to be Colossus, unless he wants to go for Disruptor, adding on some more gateways as well. And a single Void Ray is going to be made. That's going to be to cover Medivac drops somewhere down there, where if you spot Medivacs boosting in, you can use Prismatic Alignment and make sure you chase those guys away, otherwise they're going to die really quick with units inside of them usually.
I love how this game's panning out. I love that Kelazhur just said, hey, in this break, what am I going to think of? I have time to think now. I'm going to go for something brand new that hasn't been seen in TvP for a long time. And Neeb, upon seeing exactly what was going on and making some good calculations, he said, you want to play that greed game? Huh? I can do that too.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted, and immediately popped down a third there. And this Oracle, even though it's not getting damage done, it's doing what it wants to do at this portion of the game. It wants to tag units. Did you get a tag on the Medax? No. That's a big deal. That means that Kelazhur's window of attack is open with these Marines that are not tagged and those Medevacs.
I'm a little bit surprised to see we don't actually see a second forge there for Neeb. It's just the one with attack upgrade on the way right now. He's getting the Twilight Council behind this, adding a few gateways as well to make sure he has the right production. And Neeb has already reached the ideal probe number that he wanted to go into, which was 70 here in the first place. Last game, he actually went up to 80, which is a very high number. Let's see if defensively is well set up again, because he's usually is every time.
Uh-oh, these pylons come in just a moment too late, but in fact, the second one wasn't even produced. He runs away with the probe, does get away, and now Kelazhur sees the army, does get a quick snipe on that Mothership core, though. So even though not a lot of damage was done, it was still damage, and Kelazhur at this point in time can be quite happy with that little trade. StarCraft 2, after all, is a game of little trades going on here and there and everywhere, and Kelazhur loves to play that mathematical war of attrition.
Kelazhur has shown no desire to go into a lot of Vikings against Colossus. He's mostly prioritized Liberators with advanced ballistics so that they can siege from further away. Let's see if in this game perhaps he goes for a second starport, because so far it's not there. He has the economy for it already, but he's not prioritizing that. It seems like he really wants to drop no matter what and prioritize the economic damage here and there if he can, but again, Neeb is always there with the perfect defense every single time that happens.
You know what Neeb does so well every time, and this is something that really changed in his play. I remember seeing him in tip-top shape, but used to fly warp prisms across the army, fly oracles across the army, but now you never see that happen from Neeb. Neeb is in such good shape. It's insane.
There it is, the second starport as well as the fusion core here for advanced ballistics. I'm guessing Oracle is actually going to spot this double Medivac drop here on the left-hand side.
But Neeb, again, ready and prepared. Even cannons coming down to defend. So Neeb's got a read on Kelazhur's style. He likes to drop, he likes to play aggressive. The Void Ray came down earlier on, but he's getting a really good anti-ground army together. Now the Warp Prism starts, though. He's got his second Forge, producing upgrades. He knows there's a Widow Mine here, I suppose, because he can't build Nexus. Oh, that's lovely. Gets the Observer there just in time for it to not go off again.
I was going to drop into that third base there, but choose to pull back at the last second after his scan. And he's still looking to try and push their forward here around the main base and maybe drop there, but the Mothership Core is waiting patiently, and big Liberator production has now begun. 3 out of 3 being made out of the 2 starports. The second one didn't have an add-on just yet, but he's actually going to go into the tech lab to be able to research advanced ballistics. That's going to be a cancel on that 4th Nexus. Very nicely done by Kelazhur. He was looking for a mistake here in the defense of Neeb, and he finally gets it and finds it. He's already well set up on 4 bases. Keep that in mind. And Kelazhur with a healthy supply lead, by the way. Look at it.
I can't help but look at it, especially when you tell me to. But yeah, this is the first game that we've really seen Kelazhur look very healthy. Upgrade-wise, he's ahead. Base-wise, he's ahead of a Protoss. Tech-wise as well, just everything is looking very good. Even getting a multitude of turrets here. He knows that Neeb's been using Warp Prisms to great effect. Are they done right in time? It looks like they might be able to get that Warp Prism in. Yes, a few Adepts do unload into the base, but this won't be damage done for very long. The next rally of units should be able to deal with these Adepts pretty efficiently.
And they're still going to do some damage.
But he's supply capped, actually, so the next rally of units isn't going to be coming out anytime soon.
And those Adepts don't even have glaives yet. It's still in the production type, so they might have shot even quicker, but they're still getting rid of a couple SCVs and bringing the Terran army out of position right now.
And Todd, do you see what I see in the production tab? Tempests, 2 at a time, with a 3rd Stargate on the way. That is insane, but that just shows that Neeb is ready for that late game style where he's going to start countering these Liberators with something that's very, very positive. And maybe he's working with Kelazhur here saying, hey, you've not been that good against the harass thus far that I've been throwing at you. I'm going to get a Dark Shrine as well. Neeb is so ready for that late game, but as is Kelazhur. This is a beautiful PvT that we're seeing shape up here.
Yeah, we're going to see maxed out armies clash eventually here. Neeb looking to try and tag the Terran army. I think he's going to get it in a second. Flying around, gets a small portion of it because Kelazhur moved the rest down. Nicely done, actually, by the Terran player here, making sure he doesn't get his entire army tagged and still has some initiative to maybe drop towards the main base.
That's a really key point that you bring up there. He moved the tag units away from his main cluster, so Neeb has zero idea where this blue blob at the south of the map is coming from. And
this might come from behind onto his army there.
It very well could, and if you get that army, the reinforcements are not able to join up, this is a pretty dicey spot for... In fact, for both players at this point, they're playing with fire. These Tempests, they do want to start bombing down on those Liberators there with their long-range shots, but this is a dicey spot for both these players.
Yeah, wrong way for that one Tempest here. Kelazhur actually thinking about engaging, but against these Colossi, still pretty hard, even though it's not that many of them. You need to be careful not to oversteam there as well, because it's only 2 medivacs with that army here from Kelazhur.
Oh, and constant tagging with that Oracle. Now Tempest shooting from the left side too. Maybe he thinks, I can go kill that Tempest, but a Colossus is there to defend them. And now this is a lot of stagnant units that cannot fight. And you see Kelazhur kind of, I don't want to say tilted or flustered, but a little flustered. His head kind of shaking in the camera there. So just lost a lot of gas and a lot of very good battle units there.
We just picked up a lot of units and he's flying very close to the Protoss army. He's just gonna skew on by undetected, looking to try and drop that 4th base of Neeb if he can, but Neeb's on the attack here with a massive army, and mostly those 3 Colossi that are still not being countered with any Vikings in particular.
But Neeb has to know that something's going on. This is the exact kind of bait that Kelazhur did against Showtime. An army marched across the map, and then he attacked him somewhere else. But even if he leaves this army to die or to just stay and run around, it has no medivacs anyway, so it can't reinforce.
Yeah, that counter-attack on the left-hand side is going to do a ton of damage. He's going to go to town here on all of these probes, take him out, go for the Nexus as well. Neeb's walking back, but he's so far away because he was brought out of position here by Kelazhur, who even scans to make sure that he knows where the army of Neeb is here. And it looks like Neeb might just be going on the attack here.
Neeb is very aggressive at this point in time, but this is a large army by Kelazhur. The Stalkers do run back. Charge lots are warped in, but they're not charge lots just yet, so they're not dealing that good damage. In fact, it's Adepts, but the army's getting cleaned up. Neeb has pretty good upgrades at this time to battle back against Kelazhur's. Oh, and look at these Liberators. They have nothing to shoot these Tempests out of the sky.
Kelazhur is still making Liberators for some reason. He's adding on 2 more starports. But he needs Vikings to deal with this Tempest and the Colossus as well.
You cannot march forward because you'll get annihilated by the Colossi on the floor, and you cannot just stay back because the Tempest will pick your units off. Textbook play by Neeb, and he's making this look easy right now. Oh, perfect play. Staying just out of range of those Liberators. In fact, one Liberator getting a few shots off here. But these Tempests, you cannot let these keep on battering on at you like this. Kelazhur, what are you going to do against this? Vikings now being made. But is it too little, too late at this point in time?
Yeah, we're almost at the 14th minute here. Neeb's going to press forward. He's going to go for the attack move here, thinking he has enough. And I think he just might, the Muslim. Way more army supply, triple the amount of Kelazhur. Look at the supply. At this point, he's completely crushed through. And the Vikings just coming in too late here from the Terran player. Who's going to go down.
Neeb is not here to mess around. And GG is called. A quick 3-0 by Neeb. Looking way cleaner, way sharper in this series compared to his last against Major. And Kelazhur just couldn't find a way to crack him. Neeb's defense was impregnable. And I mean, can Kelazhur be sad about that series? He tried to throw a spanner into the works with that last game of that series, but even that did not work against Neeb. He is looking unstoppable in PvTR, and true respect being shown amidst these top-tier players, and that is a beautiful thing to see. And we want to hear immediately what our winner of that series is thinking, so we will be throwing it over to Sue on the main stage. Take it away, Sue.
Thank you very much, guys. Neeb, earlier on at this event, I remember you said, I thought I was going to lose to TLO and not even be able to make it out of the group stage. And to go from that to now being in the grand finals, the first player in 2017 to make back-to-back finals, I mean, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it feels pretty great. I mean, it's like the exact same thing that happened at Austin, so it's not really new to me, but it still feels good.
Now, coming into this match against Kelazhur, I mean, he was looking pretty hot. He had a lot of momentum. So I know that you said you were feeling pretty good because you had already been practicing PvT, but do you have any worries at all because of how well he had been doing?
Yeah, I think Kelazhur plays a much weirder style, which is kind of good right now, I think. So I was pretty scared, even though I beat Major. But I think I played well this series, and he didn't play as weird, gimmicky as he normally does, I don't think.
And so coming up next, you're going to have a very tough opponent. It's going to be Serral. A lot of people describe him as one of the best European players in the world right now. So going up against him, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's really good. I'm just going to try to not get 4-0'd.
Well, best of luck, Neeb. I know a lot of fans will be cheering for you. And with that, we have our grand final set. It will be Neeb versus Serral.
An electrifying match for Neeb, going for the repeat grand final appearance after a stellar showing against Kelazhur. Put up one hell of a fight with his deepest tournament run so far, but it was not enough to stop the American hero, StarCraft Forever, into crowd, as Kelazhur was not able to make quite the punch that he needed against him. And we have a Protoss versus Zerg to finish our second WCS Circuit event, Roddy.
A dream final, I would say. Serral, the man that's getting all the hype, against Neeb, our Casper Cup champion of last year, the reigning WCS champion of this year. That's going to be an amazing best of 7. Of course, all the kudos to Kelazhur as well for just an awesome, phenomenal tournament run. The best of his career. Deserved as well, not by gimmicky gameplay, but today Neeb was just a drop too far.
Yeah, too strong in the end. I mean, this is the year of Neeb, dude. Austin, and now he's already in the final. I mean, it's hard to think about a foreign player in the history of StarCraft 2 that's done so well in such a short amount of time. It's really, really impressive.
It's kind of like we talk about these players, we hype them up, they get their performances, they get the results in. Neeb was that guy for a long time. He was the player that we built up over the course of last year. He had those amazing results pretty much throughout the entirety of the year, but particularly, of course, in WCS Austin last year, and in as well as, what was that other one that I just slipped my mind? Shanghai. Yeah. He did really well in Shanghai as well. And, of course, finishing up in Casper Cup. But now, there's a chance maybe Serral, with the hype that he's built up, the performance that he's had at this tournament so far, this a hell of a grand slam for him, and potentially even moving forward, as we're not that far from WCS Valencia either.
I think this is the sickest hype final. I mean, I know that everybody loves the TvZ final as well, and I think maybe a Uterma or even Kelazhur or a Special in the final would have been great against Serral. But I think, for me, this is kind of the dream final, I think, because I just think simply, and that doesn't always happen, these are the two best players at this tournament, and I really think, I mean that.
PvZ finals can be pretty amazing. I do remember, of course, Nurtio versus Neeb at the Austin Grand Final, going all the way to the end and being pretty sick. And look at that bracket then.
Yeah,
we got ourselves the storyline here from today.
The final bracket is prepared. Neeb versus Serral coming all the way through. a sea of Zergs on that top side. And I have to say, we talked about this at the beginning of the tournament. This came up a couple of times when we first discussed the sheer, horde of Zerg players, the swarm of Zerg, as it were, competing here. But we talked about the map pool, and Protoss in particular, struggling a little bit against Zerg. Neeb, in that interview, just said, I hope I don't get 4-0'd.
Yeah,
is it really that bad?
He doesn't seem confident, does he? But that said, he's a very modest and humble player. He won't play himself up. He'll say that he's playing badly or something like that, and then he'll win a grand final. He did it in Austin as well.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are that this is a very fun final because we have to go back to 2011 to see a USA versus Finland grand final. Back then we had Alfie going up against Idra in Guangzhou.
Wow.
That's a long time ago, Nate.
We're reading into the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics for that one. But as good as that might be, what will be even better is this grand final coming up. We're going to have a little bit of a longer break for the players to prepare for their grand final appearance. You're watching WCS Jönköping.